All right, let's talk about the Pi network. If you're following the project, you already know that trying to figure out what's real and what's just noise can feel like a full-time job. The headlines and rumors are absolutely everywhere.
So that's really the big question we're tackling, isn't it? How do you cut through all that noise, all the hype and all the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, to find out what's actually verifiable?
Okay, so let's set the stage here. In the wild world of crypto, trust is incredibly hard to come by. And because the Pi network has such a massive, passionate community, it's basically become a magnet for some seriously sensational and often pretty misleading headlines.
To get to the bottom of this, we're going to do a little detective work together. We're going to take 3 recent, really popular stories that have been making the rounds, and we're going to break them down piece by piece using facts we can actually verify. So let's jump in.
First up is this one from Coinfomania. It claims a major new utility called PiBridge has been officially added to the ecosystem. Now that sounds like a pretty big deal, right? But let's take a closer look.
So the headline makes you think this is an official partnership, but the reality is completely different. PiBridge has zero formal connection to the Pi core team. It's a totally independent project built by outside developers.
And here's the proof, plain and simple. First off, PiBridge doesn't even run on the Pi blockchain. It runs on the Binance Smart Chain. It uses something called wrapped Pi, which is basically a token that just represents Pi. It's not the real native Pi coin. And the final nail in the coffin, there's absolutely no mention of it anywhere on the official website, minepi.com, which is always your source of truth.
Okay, on to our second case. This one's a huge rumor that's been flying around in all the fan groups. The idea that Pi Network is on track to get ISO 2202 compliance, which is a massive global standard for financial messages.
This entire claim really boils down to a huge misunderstanding of that date. The November 2025 deadline that everyone keeps pointing to, well, that's a deadline for traditional banks to adopt the new standard. It has absolutely nothing to do with crypto projects automatically getting compliant.
And again, if we just look at the simple facts, no crypto project just gets this status automatically. It doesn't work that way. More importantly, Pi Network is not on any official list of compatible assets, and the core team has said zilch, absolutely nothing about it. This is just pure speculation being passed around as fact.
And now for the big one, the most serious accusation of all, the one you see absolutely everywhere, that the Pi network is just one giant scam. That's a really heavy charge, so let's try to look at it from a balanced perspective.
This really helps lay it all out. On one side, you've got legitimate criticisms, for sure. The project is still very centralized, the price is incredibly volatile, and yeah, the referral system does have some similarities to multi-level marketing. But on the other side, the open mainnet is actually live. The token is tradable on real exchanges. Millions of users have actually migrated, and development is clearly still happening. These are not things you see in a classic scam, where the founders usually just take the money and vanish.
Okay, so after tearing down all that misinformation, you're probably asking, well, what's actually real then? What is happening? So let's pivot and look at the verifiable news, the hard data that's coming straight from the project itself.
This is the stuff we can confirm is happening right now, based on official announcements and what we can see on the blockchain.
First, check this number out, 3.36 million. That is a massive metric for network growth. That's how many new users successfully completed their KYC, their Know Your Customer verification, in the month of October alone.
Next up, the price. On October 27th, the Pi token had a pretty significant jump, 22% in a single 24-hour period. That's a notable move in any market.
And this is a big one. The total number of verified users, or pioneers, who have successfully moved their Pi over to the live mainnet has now crossed 10 million. That's a huge user base on a functioning blockchain.
On the technology side of things, the Pi App Studio just got an upgrade with new AI tools to help developers build apps faster. But it's not all smooth sailing. The network is also facing a big challenge this November, when somewhere between 121 and 172 million locked tokens are scheduled to be released. That could definitely put some downward pressure on the price.
So, knowing everything we've just talked about, how can you protect yourself from all the bad info out there from now on? Let's put together a quick and easy fact-checking toolkit. It honestly comes down to 3 pretty simple steps. First, always go to the official sources like mypi.com. Second, get good at spotting the red flags of clickbait. And third, just be super careful about phishing scams trying to get your info.
And here are some of those red flags. Anytime you see a headline with words like explodes, or one that promises a specific price target, or claims to have insider info, or announces some big partnership you can't find on the official blog, that should immediately set off alarm bells in your head.
So let's wrap all this up and try to land on a final, balanced view of what the Pi network is, and just as importantly, what it isn't.
Let's be totally real about what we're looking at. Pi Network is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not risk-free, and it is not about to become a global currency tomorrow. So what is it? It's an experimental blockchain project with a giant community. It's super volatile, it's risky, and it has some very real challenges to overcome. But it also holds potential. Both of those things can be true at the same exact time.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. Now that you're better equipped to spot the difference between real news and all that speculative hype, the question isn't just about what you know, it's about what you do with that knowledge. How will you use it to help create a smarter, safer community for everyone? Your actions really can make a difference. Thanks for tuning in.